Welcome to the Dating After Divorce podcast. I'm your host, Shade Curry, and I believe every divorced woman deserves a romantic relationship where she feels safe, loved, and cherished. You can create the most amazing life after divorce, and I will teach you how. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Dating After Divorce podcast. Today, I want to talk about creating a dating profile that works. So I've been mulling this episode for a while, and I was trying to figure out a way to present this material without also creating a formula, quote unquote formula, just because in the dating world, it feels like people think that there is one way to do things that's going to work. So I find a lot of people asking questions about, well, what do I need to say? And exactly what words do I need to choose? And what pictures need to be there for my dating profile to work? And I find a lot of material out there on the internet trying to give these answers. The problem with this approach is that there is actually no formula to creating a dating profile that will work for you. And I want to emphasize that because your dating profile is meant to attract the person that wants you exactly as you are, who you are, the way you are, your personality, your lifestyle, your quirks, your specific individual blend of humor, your idea of what a relationship looks like. All of those variables are so unique to you that there is no one way to create a dating profile that will work for everyone. And so that was what I wanted to lead with is when I give this, when I talk about this in this podcast, you might think about it and be like, well, she didn't exactly tell me how. And that's because the how comes when you are clear on who you are, when you're clear on who you are attempting to attract, and you are clear on what the relationship between the two of you look like. This is the first, I guess I would say the first fifth of the work that I do with my clients is getting so clear on this in a way that isn't muddled with like myths out there in the dating world or hidden expectations or demands that really don't facilitate healthy relationships. So the first thing I want to say is that when you create a dating profile that works, you really want a dating profile that works for you. Right? What is the dating profile that will attract the specific person that you are looking for? That is the goal for your dating profile. When I have done, I've reviewed my clients' dating profiles, if they come to me already with one, a lot of what I find is that they are trying to get more people to like their profile. They're getting more people to reach out to them. They're trying to get more people to be attracted to them. But you don't want that. Like there are, I don't know, thousands, depending on where you live, millions of people on each dating app. And only a very tiny fraction of those people are going to be for you. Only a very tiny fraction of those people are going to be what you are looking for. So you really don't want to, quote unquote, bring all the boys to your yard. Okay? That is not going to help you. When you bring all the boys to your yard, you get overwhelmed, you get tired, you get burned out, you get exhausted because 99% of those men are not going to be what you are looking for. So your real goal for your dating profile is to speak so clearly, so succinctly to the man that you are looking for. So you might have to back up a little bit to get clear on that and to understand who you are, who that person is, what the relationship between the both of you looks like, and get super clear about that. Now, once you've done that, you want to get past just some of the obvious things that people have said about dating apps, like, oh, you need to have, I don't know, 4 pictures and 1 full body picture. Don't put a picture that's too old. I mean, seriously, who does that? Like none of the None of my clients do anything like that. So, get past the basics, the obvious, the like, put in 6 pictures, go the extra mile to actually fill out your profile. I'm going to assume that you know that that's obvious and you don't have a problem with any of that. Okay. The next thing is examine how you are thinking, how you are feeling, and your energy around yourself. So when you are creating your profile, you have thoughts about you. When you look at your photos, you have thoughts about those photos. You have thoughts about how you look. You have thoughts about the life that you're living. You have thoughts about kind of how attractive you are, how attractive your life is, whether or not the person that you are looking for exists out there. You're going to want to do a whole bunch of coaching work around that. When you're creating your dating profile, when you're writing those words, your energy comes through. Your level of inspiration, your level of belief, your level of love for yourself, your level of zest for life is going to come through when you write that, right? So sometimes you look at, if you look at your dating profile and you feel like, oh, well, it's kind of falling flat. It's kind of, there's nothing exciting here. You might need to take a step back, then also do some of that work to say, how do I really feel about my life? How do I really feel about myself? And, a lot of the past episodes have dealt with these. This is the work I do with my clients so that when they are out there in the dating world, like there's no energetic drain, right? They're not like out there, like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, apathetic, complacent, feeling pessimistic about their ability to create the life and love that they want. So that work also has to be done. You want to be so certain about who you are. And I'll give you an example. I was working with a woman on her, her dating journey, and she had been dating online before she came to me. And the challenge that she was having was she had so much self-doubt that when she put out her profile, she put out her hobbies, she would take feedback from the people who were messaging her on the app about her dating profile. So whenever a man messaged her and they were going back and forth, he might make a comment about something that she put on her dating profile, and then she would go change her dating profile based on what he said. So that was one of her hobbies, and I won't go into details about it, but she had a hobby that I found really fascinating. And there was this guy who was like, oh, that's weird. That hobby is weird. Like, that's not cool. That's kind of nerdy. And you really shouldn't have that on your dating profile. Like, so she was kind of like a historical collector. She did like some really cool things out on the web. And I was like, your person is going to love that. The person that's meant to be with you is going to think that hobby is so cute, is so interesting, is so fascinating. Why would you ever take that down? But she didn't realize that. She thought, oh, if I make my profile more appealing to more people, then I'll find the person that I want. Well, it wasn't working for her, because what was happening was every time she took feedback from one person, it watered her profile down until it was super vanilla, even though she was a super fascinating person. So one of the things, the whole point of that is that, listen, you need to completely own who you are without any self-doubt, without any desire to mute yourself or edit yourself to please the masses. Like, you're not for everyone. You are not for everyone out there. Like I said earlier, 99% of the people out there are not for you, and you're not for them. You're trying to speak to that one person who is for you, and you need that crystal clear clarity around who you are and what you're looking for to be able to do that. You want to self-coach and really have your confidence on point so that you're not going out there with any self-doubt, letting other people tell you kind of like who you should be on a dating profile. Vanilla is the worst thing you can be on a dating profile. And I think this is probably the biggest point of correction that I've made on dating profiles. I will give this one away. Don't use words like nice, friendly, loyal, honest, love my family. Like, that's everybody, okay? We're all supposed to kind of be that. And I think that comes from women wanting to show that they are not going to give the guy any trouble. We want to show that we're nice and we're pleasant and we're going to be comfortable. We're going to be, low maintenance, and we're not going to give them any drama. And like, we're just good people. I'm just a good, nice human. So these are my thoughts about that, is that one, it's very vanilla. Everyone should just generally be a decent human being. So that's like a baseline that is not necessary on your dating profile. You don't need to say you're a good human. We just assume that you are a good human, right? And other people should be good humans too. And when people show that they're not good humans, like, we want to move along pretty quickly. So being a good human is not particularly interesting in a relationship, right? Nobody wants to be in a relationship with someone who isn't a good human. So I would say go beyond just your nice, empathetic, honest, friendly persona to who are you beyond all of that? What makes you uniquely you? My advice to my clients, and what we really deep dive and work on, is to create a dating profile that could never be mistaken for someone else's profile. Like, when I look at your profile, when you go to your dating profile, could your dating profile apply to another woman or other women? And if it can, then it's too vanilla, right? And if there's nothing in your life beyond just the basics, then you may not know yourself as well as you want to. You may not really be spending time enjoying who you are, getting to know yourself, experiencing your own uniqueness and expressing that uniqueness in the world. When you're fully in touch with your own uniqueness and you are able to express it authentically and with confidence, you'll be able to create like really vivid word pictures about who you are and the relationship that you're looking for. Your profile won't be full of cliches or just like the dating buzzwords that are out there. So my offer to you is to really dial in on who you are, like really go deep, like just let it permeate so that it's so easy for all of that to come out in your dating profile, who you are, who you're looking for, and exactly what that relationship would look like. Now, I also want to encourage you to live the life that you think you'll be living in your relationship now. So if you see a lot of travel in your future relationship, are you traveling now? Because if you are traveling now, right, then you will have the words to describe what that life looks like. You will have the examples, you will have the photos, you will have the stories to tell now. And when you put all of that into your dating profile, it speaks to the man who wants to live that life with you. Versus, well, I'm not living that life now. I'm kind of living this other life that's kind of vanilla. And I'm hoping you come and then we build this new life together. Because you're not experiencing what you're asking for, you're going to struggle with finding the words. You're going to struggle to have the pictures. You're going to struggle to energetically express what you're looking for because you're not in that life now. And then finally, I want to just say, don't speak to the person that you are not looking for, right? So sometimes women will try to keep the bad guys away by talking to the bad guys in their profile. So they'll write, well, no hookups and no this, and I don't want this and I don't want that. Well, the problem with that is those words are speaking to the guy you don't want. So you're actually more likely to attract the guy you don't want, who's coming over to prove to you that you do want that. So if you do have a list of the things you don't want, be very clear about what you don't want, but don't talk about it in your profile. Your profile should be talking about exactly what you do want so that the person who is what you want sees himself in your profile. He is interested in your profile versus trying to bat the bad guys away with negative words. I'll give you an example about that to wrap up. So I have a client, and when we worked on her profile, she's a writer, she's into the creative arts. And initially she had written her profile, just talking about the fact that she liked to hike and she liked to read and a few other things. And the profile was good, but it was still somewhat vanilla and ordinary. And her complaint was like I get a lot of attention, but she says, I just keep getting these guys that are like no good. I keep getting these guys who don't want to go anywhere, who don't want to go on a date and things like that. And so we revamped her profile and made it a lot more active, right? One of the things we put there, because she's a writer and an avid reader, she attended a lot of book signings, a lot of lectures. I mean, she was just very active in the writers' scene in her city. And so I was like, hey, why don't we add that in there? And one of the things she put in there, now, like I said, this is not a formula. I'm telling you kind of like what this client did, but you just taking these words and plopping them in your profile may or may not work for you. So, we said, hey, you're very active and you go out a lot to book signings and things like that. Let's put that in your profile so that the man who wants to get up and go to something like that on a first date sees himself in your profile. And the interesting thing that happened was once she wrote like all of the places that she loved to go to and the fact that those would be her ideal first date, all the guys who like didn't want to go anywhere, who just wanted Netflix and chill, those guys just kind of slid away. So the numbers of the incompatible people who were messaging her went way down. And then she had just way more bandwidth and way more space to have conversations with people who were more of her ideal match. All right, these are some of my thoughts on creating a dating profile that works. I just want to reiterate that, listen, it's not a formula. Don't go with a formula when you hear it. Your dating profile, the one that's going to work for you, is going to come from the inside of you. It's going to come from deep down, who you are, what you want, what you're looking for. So my advice is to you is just take that first step to really dial in. Take a day, just kind of go for a walk. Spend some time with your own thoughts, spend some time with your own vision for your relationship, journal, just get everything out there and see what comes up for you. And then go back to your dating profile and say, hey, how am I expressing who I am? Am I expressing my true self? Or am I just kind of like going with the flow and taking a whole bunch of advice that is creating a picture that isn't really me? All right, friends, I hope this was helpful to you. If you enjoyed this, please leave a review of the podcast and share it with your friends. Thank you for your time and attention, and I will see you next time. Thanks for listening today. If you are ready to get married after divorce, I want to invite you to download my free 8-video training specifically designed to help divorced women date with ease and get married again. Head over to sadecurry.com to get started. That's SADECURRY.com. I'll see you inside.